For me, the way that I try to keep a record of things is by having videos, by dancing with different people, by taking classes, and really going back to it and analyzing.
I think it's important to celebrate when you realize you got better at something.
Here's the thing, guys. It's good when your teacher says you're getting better. Yes. But it's very dangerous when we're only seeking validation externally.
So my getting better is more measured in the sense of how much more I feel confidence dancing to lyrical music.
It's not easy. No. If we are in a position that we're struggling, we need help.
So sometimes getting better at something or the movement to start to get better at something is to become aware of something new.
Make sure that you don't just think, I want to be good. Think about the things that you want to be good and give each thing that you want to be good at deliberate practice. 99% of the times, the issue is fixed like this, just because they gave that one thing enough attention. And maybe it's not fixed, but it's improved. So give yourself a real chance to get better. Are you actually improving or just repeating the same mistakes? How do you measure progress when you feel stuck or plateaued in your dancing? And why tracking your progress and asking the right whys can turn frustrations into massive wins? Well, let's find out. Hello everyone, and welcome back to ZoukNerds. In this episode, Gui and I dig into how to know if you are getting better. We'll share simple ways to track your growth, why external praise can be a validation trap, and the power of deliberate practice to fix specific issues like balance or timing. Let's learn how to celebrate these small wins and find happiness in your progress. So, let's go! Hello everyone. My name is Alisson Sanji, and let's welcome back our amazing co-host Gui Prada. Hello, Gui.
Hello, Alisson. Hello, everybody. Welcome back.
In this episode, we want to discuss how to know if we're getting better. Does it get better? How does it get better? How do we progress? How do we even quantify it in our dance journey? This is something that we go through every now and then as dancers, as teachers, as organizers. And we hear a lot from our students. How do we measure? How do we even compare in a positive way, not in a negative way, if we're doing better? I think this is tough. This is tough because in my personal journey, I've always been kind of like outside of the mainstream per se. I've kind of followed my own path, so it's hard for me to compare. But at the same time, it's a good thing because I don't have something to compare. But for me, the way that I try to keep a record of things is by having videos, by dancing with different people, by taking classes, and really going back to it and analyzing, because very often when a student comes to me and says, hey, Alisson, I don't think I'm getting better. I don't know what's going on. My dancing is stuck. I go to them and I say, hey, do you remember 6 months ago when you were struggling with this? Do you remember 12 months ago when you were doing this course and you couldn't understand this part? And now you do them and you don't even think about it? So often we are not in a position to actually know it until we either see a video of ourselves dancing or we ask somebody. Just yesterday, I was talking to a student and they sent me a message and saying, oh, Alisson, I just want to thank you for all the classes that you've been teaching us here. I know that sometimes I don't feel like I'm getting better, but just last week I was looking at some of the videos from last year before I started attending your classes. And then I realized, wow, I have really improved in many things that I didn't even realize. And I'm not really tooting my own horn here, but what I'm trying to say is that, yes, it always gets better. Even if it's 0.1% a day, it gets better. So we do have to have little systems that we can help ourselves understand and measure how we're getting better. Do you have something like that, Gui? Do you follow a certain system, or do you rely on anything that helps you realize what's going on in your progression?
Yeah. I have some sort of challenges that if I'm learning a new thing, there is a challenge that I create. So for example, I know a circuit or a sequence, a combination of things, and observe how much or how easier I'm going through this sequence, this thing. And these exist in several aspects of my life. So for example, anytime you want to create a habit, you need to stay consistent on that habit. So for example, waking up and then taking a shower and then writing a journal and then exercising. So tracking the days in which you're being able to do that and tracking the days that you are skipping and establishing what would be, for me, I think it's important to know what is the getting better? Getting better at what? Getting better at what thing? And for me, in the situation of the habit, I want to get better at creating a habit. I want to get better at having a habit in the first place. So I am tracking how well I'm following this habit and just realizing that now I don't need to sort of force myself into the habit. It just happens. I wake up and I go straight to the shower, then I go straight and I sit in a journal. It becomes a process. So getting better can be that for me. So I'm basically tracking this thing. There is the getting better in the language, for example. And for me, I track the getting better in the language by how much more I'm able to understand the language and having in mind the reference points. The reference point that I have is the beginning, how it was in the beginning and how it is now. And then realizing, wow, I know so much more now. And celebrating that. I think it's important to celebrate when you realize it got better at something. And in the dance, the getting better is really specific. I try to have the better related to a very specific thing. I'll give an example. I want to get better at dance to completely lyrical music. I play a very lyrical song and I realize how hard it is for me to express myself with the movements that I know to that song. And then that becomes a reference point. I'm like, okay, I'm going to dance to that song again, like a couple months from now, a couple weeks from now, and then see how I express myself in that song again. And it's very related to the feeling of ease and confidence to go through something that was otherwise challenging. Dancing to lyrical music, what was the challenge thing? The movements that I know how to do, they were not matching the melody or matching the vibe. So then I go ahead and learn new movements to be able to address that. So what do? I look for reference points. So I watch other people dancing. I realize how they're doing the things. And then I try to get inspired by that and copy some of these things and then bring to me, apply. So my getting better is more measured in the sense of how much more I feel confidence dancing to lyrical music. That's an example, for example. I remember when I was training, all the head movement possibilities with footwork, reversing, turning, walking around, all these things. I remember doing for the first time. I remember very clearly, I was with Brenda in her city in Manaus, in the gym of her building, and she was showing me the lateral with the head motion, then reversing, the lateral with the head motion, and then I tried for the first time, disaster. Almost fell on the ground, couldn't do it, you know? And then that became the thing. I will get better at this thing when I'm able to do the lateral and all the reverses, keep the head movement going and not lose balance. And that's how it goes. There's something that I didn't know how to do, and then I know how to do. The thing is keeping track and keeping the awareness alive that now I can do this so we can celebrate. As a teacher, I see people getting better that sometimes they don't realize they're getting better. They think they're still stuck. So I think it's part of my profession, it's part of my job to get to that person to say, do you realize how much better you got from the start to now? And then I get to see people say, oh, really? Oh my God, I thought there was something was happening. Dun, 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 dun. Even in the course of a weekender, I try to say people, when I do notice an improvement, I say something like this. I wish you could see you with my eyes and compare to how you were when we started this process and see how much better you guys got in doing the specific things that we are talking about. So that's what I would like the better to be framed as. It's something that is more specific that you didn't know how to do before and you want to learn how to do it. And then you realize that you are now able to do it. So there are just 3 different moments. Because probably, Addison, you go through this experience as well. When people come for private lessons and you ask, what would you like to work on? They say, I would like to get better. And the question I ask is, what is getting better for you? And then many times, I would say the majority of times, people need to think a little bit and realize what is it that they are talking about when they say, I want to get better.
Yeah, is getting better feeling more comfortable? Is getting better feeling more confident? Is getting better getting more invitations in the social?
That's one that I hear. That's one that I hear a lot.
Yeah, most of the times people say, oh, I just want more people to invite me to dance in the social. But here's the thing, guys. That's good. Yes. Also, it's good when your teacher says you're getting better. Yes. But it's very dangerous when we're only seeking out our validation externally. It's very dangerous when you rely on other people to give you that validation. That's why we want to talk about this here. And I think habit tracking is a great way to do this, right? So if you can track your habits like Gui said, for example, I have gotten rid of many habits over the years. And I usually use an app that tracks my habit. So every day I get a little reminder of like, did you do this today? Yes. Was it easy? Not today. Today was not easy. How did you feel when doing that habit? Oh, I felt like uninspired. I felt like it was a task. But then the next day, did you do it? Yes. Was it easy? Not bad. How did you feel it? Well, I felt satisfied. I felt accomplished. Not really super excited, so kind of like keeping tracks. And I'm going to share something very personal here. 10 plus years ago, I was going through a very, very difficult breakup for me. It was really a shift on how my life was and how I identified myself as a person. And I got to a point that it was so difficult for me to move on that I got this little paper, a calendar sort of thing with the dates of the month. And my task was to put a little tick for yes or cross X for no on the days that I felt good about my life or that I felt bad about my life and the situation that I was in. I don't think I need to tell you that the first week or 2 was more X's than ticks. It was absolutely that. But the moment that there were progressively more yes days than no days, something shifted. And from then on, I never looked back. There was a shift of just seeing more yeses than nos that gave me an inspiration, a sense of accomplishment, and a sense of like, oh, I'm doing this. Yes, I'm capable. When maybe like 3 weeks ago, I was just like hopeless, guys. Honestly, it was a very, very strong shift in my life during this breakup. And I hope you haven't had this in your life. But when you go through a breakup like that, you really feel like there's nothing next week, right? It can be that bad. And for me, it was that bad. Now, we can do that through dance. Like Guy said, we can go like, okay, I'm going to go to a social. And at the end of the social, I'm going to write down how easy it was for me to ask people to dance from 0 to 10. How easy it was for me to enjoy most of the songs. How easy it was for me to feel relaxed in my body. And you can keep track of that and look back. Wow, over the last few months, I feel like I'm enjoying the music more. And then you go back into your notes and you see, wow, yes, actually, I am enjoying the music more because when I was in that moment, in that vibe, I was. And I told myself that I was. Often we get into this place of questioning, when we're not feeling good about something, and then suddenly we think that everything else is not as good as it actually is. Just because one thing is not very good, you just think that everything else automatically is not that good. So it's good to have some sort of habit tracking. Yes, you can take private lessons, you can go to group classes and ask your teacher, ask other people. But I think it's dangerous when you only rely on the outside validation. Please make sure that you have some sort of habit tracking for yourself. Now, for those of you who are in a community where maybe you don't have those many socials or classes to attend and you're training by yourself or learning through online classes, you can still do that. You can go like, okay, I'm going to do 1 minute of dancing to this song and I'm going to just feel how it is to keep good timing, to keep good balance, and then I'm going to write some notes. Okay, today my balance was a 7, my timing, I feel like it was a 7. And if you don't know, record a video, watch back. Okay, it's not easy. I'm not telling you that you're just going to wake up and everything is going to be fine. No. If we are in a position that we're struggling, we need help. Sometimes getting help is not easy. And oftentimes having the discipline to have that habit of keeping track is even harder. So yes, habit tracking, reporting, and reviewing is the best way. And lastly, never think that anything should be the final product. I learned something from a book that I read a couple of years ago, which kind of helped me change my mindset of being a perfectionist person. When you're developing things, just treat them as drafts. This is draft 1, draft 2. Today, we are in draft 80 of season 5, because this is our 80th episode of this season. I'm not thinking that by 100, we're going to be perfect podcasters and we're going to blow up on social media. No, I'm not thinking that. I'm just thinking that today, this draft is going to be better than the other. And I can track that because I added the videos. So I know how much better we are getting at expressing our ideas, how much better we are getting at not stuttering or repeating the words and things like that, because I'm forced to look at our habits when I'm editing. And that helps me to get better so much. The things that we have improved here over the last year in this podcast, I feel very proud because I have this point of reference, because I have this thing that shows me. So I think this is a huge thing, guys. Have some sort of system.
I would say combine with the system, have some specific name what you want to get better at. For me, it's the string that connects everything. Naming the thing you want to get better at and make it less general, basically. Just basically make it less general, narrow it down. Because getting better is somewhat of a subjective concept at times if you don't have an idea of what you're getting better. For example, as you guys know, I really love the basics in Brazilian Zouk and I try to explore them to its maximum and getting better at basics. So when I say I want to get better at basics, like right now in your mind, what does that mean? I want to get better at basics. So when I talk to the other teachers, when I talk to people that have been dancing for a long time, they often say, I want to get better at basics. And when they are teachers, they often say, I want people to see how good the basics are, how amazing they can be. I want them to get better at basics. And then I ask, what does that mean? Do you want them to get better in the execution of the basics? So do you want them to do a better viradinha, do a better basic front and back? Or do you want them to get better at basics by doing them more confidently, not thinking that they are boring their partners to death because they are just doing lateral, simple turn, viradinha? Or getting better at basics meaning learning more variations in the basics so you can explore them more. Or getting better at basics meaning all these things combined. You know what I mean? So it's such a, even when we say I want to get better at basics, there are so many things that are possible in this realm of getting, I want to get better at head movements. What does that mean? You want to get better in the basic execution of the head movements? You want to be able to do more head movements? You want to be able to do the tricky head movements? You want to be able to create your own? What does the get better head movements mean to you? Cool. So that would be the invitation. Like, what is it? And inside of the what is it? What is it? What is it? Like as the thing inside. For me, the getting better at basics was related to the use of them. How can I use the basics in a way that they feel complete and enough in a dance? I can just do that and the whole dance is going to feel amazing. So I needed to understand variations, learn about variations, research them, the execution, and the feeling. I want the feeling of doing the basics to be amazing. So worked a lot on the comfort of the execution. Not only the precision, but also the comfort combined with variations. So then I feel that I got better basics because when I'm social dancing and I'm just doing the basics, they feel enough. I can just do them and the confidence doesn't drop. Actually, it increases because it feels so good to me. And I observe my partner, and because of the feedback loop and the exchange, I can relate that with their partner. It's feeling good too. And then we have that exchange. So it's also a matter of embodiment as well. Like you perceiving in yourself this increased confidence in something that before you weren't as much, like Alison was saying. So then you don't rely so much on external validation to understand and to feel that you got better at something because you feel that you got better at something. Sometimes our feeling can be a little skewed. We think we got better at something, and we as teachers, Alison, we sometimes have this experience where the person comes to us, no, but I got better at this thing. And then we dance with them and say, no, you didn't. So there is this matter of sometimes our own experience of the thing that we think we got better at can be deceiving. So I put some markers. For example, my balance. How balanced do I feel while doing the thing? How in control do I feel while doing the thing? Give yourself some challenges. Can I do this very slow? Can I do this super fast? Can I do this and at any point stop and feel good? Creating some ways to verify how much have you mastered the thing that you want to get better at. For example, in English, simply expressing myself, conveying certain ideas. 5 years ago, I wouldn't be able to convey the ideas in the way that I'm able to convey now, so I got better at English. Podcasting. In our first podcast, a lot of filler words and ums and ums and ahs and ings and so we realized we got better at podcasting because our speaking is more flowy. We are not scared of making stops. We're not scared of pausing. So we don't need the filler words and so on, right, Alison? So there's a lot of improvements that you might not be aware of, you might be losing track of. But when you connect and you realize, oh my God, now I can convey a whole idea without these filler words. So that's a win. Yeah.
Such a big win. Makes my life so much easier when I'm editing.
Yes.
Oh, dear.
Yes.
But yes, guys, I would like to suggest and encourage you to use a little system that I have for myself, which is the 5 levels of why. What is that? So whenever I have something I want to understand a little bit more about, whether it's in my life or I'm helping somebody, I try to ask why. And then after I get that answer, I ask the why for that answer. And then I follow 5 levels at least. Sometimes it goes longer. But I think if you can get to 5, you're going to get to a place where you haven't been before. I promise. Sometimes by the 3rd why, you already have a breakthrough and you go like, oh my God, this is why all of these things were in my head and I've been feeling this way. And it's very difficult to get to 5 whys and to even get to 10 whys. It's kind of therapeutical and scary sometimes, because you have to be honest with yourself. What comes into your head first, you have to write down. You can't go like, oh, I thought about this. Oh, no, it's not that. No, it can't be that. No, you have to be honest. You have to promise. I'm going to write the first thing that comes into my head. I'm not going to judge it. I'm just going to write it down. Why do I want to get better at head movements? Because I want to be more comfortable with my partners. Why do I want to be more comfortable with my partners? Because I want more of them to smile when they dance with me. Why do I want them to smile more when they dance with me? Because that makes me feel like I'm a better dancer. Why do I want to make myself feel like I'm a better dancer? Because that gives me more confidence. Now you understand why you want to get better at head movement. Like, this could be different for you, but you have to automatically let yourself give the answer without judging, without thinking too much. This is something that I do with my teams, with my students. Sometimes we're thinking about, oh, we should add this for Brazuki, or we should do this for ZoukNerds. And then I'm like, okay, sure, but why? And I'm never arguing. They got used to it. It's just because I want to understand. And then I ask, why again? And why again? And why again? And once you understand that this is just a curiosity and research to really get to the bottom of it, you're not going to see that as argumentative, or somebody doesn't trust your words, or they're questioning what you're even talking about. You know, maybe you have some traumas in your life, and this is going to come up because you go like, oh, every time, you know, my partner or my parents ask me why they're judging me. Please don't go there. Just see this as a very safe space for you to really dig deep into why you need or you want certain things. And this, for me, it helps me so much on a daily basis.
Yeah, I've seen this exercise before done somewhere, and the facilitator was saying is after these many layers of why, you find a core. It's like you find a core value, you find the thing that is driving everything else. And sometimes working on the core value is the work that you actually want, but there's all these layers on top of it that we think is the thing, right?
A lot of the times the layer don't come from us. They come from outside perspectives, expectations, or things that people told you.
Yes.
Why do you want to get better head movements? Well, because you're not a good Zouk dancer if you don't. Like, so you put that on yourself, but that's not your reason. You don't want to impress anybody. You just want to feel confident, or you just want to feel like this is something that you've been struggling with a lot. So going deep down into the whys is a great tool. And please, one thing that I want to say, don't judge yourself too much if you don't get to the why. It takes time. Sometimes you're only really going to understand the why maybe the 5th time that you do this. Maybe the first session is not there and you're just like, okay, grab that paper, put it away, come back next week and do the same exercise, or come back tomorrow or later in the day. And then at some point, you're going to have that breakthrough. But again, it's a habit tracking thing. It's a discipline thing. You can expect to improve if you keep doing the same thing. So stick to it and you'll see results.
Yeah, it's a little bit of shadow work sometimes, the why. You know, when you digging like that and you investigate your own reasoning for things, sometimes you might not like the reason that is driving you to want to do something, right? I remember we talked about some episodes ago, the idea of defensive teaching, when we teach based on the fear that certain things come to place, right? So we teach a certain way because we want to retain the students, prepare them for the social, and keep them engaged. Whereas if you were to teach the way that we really like to teach and the material would like to teach, would perhaps be something entirely different. So sometimes when you say, I want to get better head movements, guys, we're just using head movements as an example, okay? Don't come, oh my gosh, head movements are bad. No, we're just using as an example.
And an example that I think comes to maybe 90% of the private lessons, to be honest. We're saying head movements because it's also a statistics, okay?
They show up. And sometimes if we do this exercise, why You want to learn hand movements. And the reason is because people are doing them in the socials and I want to survive, you not necessarily would want to learn the hand movements. It's like I think you gotta learn, otherwise you won't enjoy or people won't enjoy dancing with you. And just by understanding this core reason why you want to get better at something, this alone fills with more motivation to learn the thing in the first place. So let's say, for example, you come to the class and you say, I want to get better at head movements. And then why? I want to be more confident. Wow, that's the reason. I want to be more confident. Then you are fueled by the power that comes from this, this value of feeling more confident, and also will guide the teaching and the learning in a different way, because you learn the technique of the head movement can make you feel more confident because you know it better, and therefore you are more confident. But sometimes that confidence can come from a different avenue, can come from like learning how not to do something, or learning more about your balance, your structure. It's a very interesting thing. I think we should do this more often in private lessons, of investigating the why somebody wants to get better at something. And in that topic of getting better, guys, I think we could all also get better at following and subscribing your favorite podcast. Yeah. So I'd love to see more of you with us. And if you want to follow the content and get the notifications, follow, subscribe in whatever platform that you are listening or watching us.
Yes, please do us a favor and help us grow this beautiful ZoukNerds podcast and community. And we promise that we're gonna be here every week delivering something for you and hopefully helping you, your community, and the entire Zouk community grow.
Yes. And I wanted to say one more thing as an exercise for you that listen to the episode, is deciding the thing that you want to get better at and be very specific with that thing. Let's say, I want to get better with the basics, and then decide, get better at what in the basics, the execution of the basics, variation of the basics, the feeling of doing the basics, how your basics look like. There are possible things. And then do the why work. Why do I want to get better at the basics? And understanding the reasoning behind it. And then you track the progress like this. So you think about, for example, changing the direction of the basic, or you play the song very fast or play the song really slow. You travel with this basic. How can I travel with this basic? So then you start to realize your shortfalls. You realize, oh, I can change direction to the left. When I go to the right, I have no idea what my body is doing. So let me work with change direction to the right side. I can travel forwards, but it's hard to travel backwards. What do I do to travel backwards in this thing? And then you go tracking and understanding that you are getting better at this different set of skills inside the thing you want to get better at. So for example, for me, I'm studying Chinese, Mandarin Chinese, and I have a reference point for me to get better, which is a podcast in Chinese that I listen to. My getting better is how much of it can I understand every time I listen to it. So right now, I'm at a point of understanding the words while not understanding the syntax. But sometimes I get the syntax. And when I get the syntax, I'm like, ooh, understood that. And while I'm translating the thing I understood, we're already, so far forward. But I have a way in my head that I'm tracking progress in this thing that I want to get better at. So my invitation to you is do the same with your Brazilian Zouk. Decide, break it down, find the why, and track. And let us know later, how was this experience?
Yes, this reminds me of a book that I love so much that is called Peak, P-E-A-K, that talks about neuroplasticity and talks about deliberate practice. Make sure that you don't just think, I want to be good. Think about the things that you want to be good and give each thing that you want to be good at deliberate practice. So if you want to get better at balance, don't just go to the social and think, I'm going to get better at balance. actually do drills and exercises and things that helps you get better at balance. If you want to get better at musicality, just going and dancing is not going to be enough. You need to also listen to more music consciously and feel it and dance by yourself. You need to study music structure a little bit. You need other tools that is going to help you get to that place. Oftentimes, we just want to practice everything at the same time. I want to get better at balance, musicality, and creativity. So then you just go and you're doing all of this at the same time, but none of them are in a way that you can track, in a way that you can see the progression. And that's usually where people feel like they plateau. They feel like they're not getting better because they've learned so much, they've trained so hard, and they don't see the improvement. Yes, you're always improving, like we've said before, you're always improving. But if you want to see more deliberate improvement, more specific improvement, then you need more deliberate practice, more specific practice. You can't just think that attending to classes is going to make your body more stable without giving a little bit more attention to that. Even if you're at class thinking, okay, I'm coming to class today, and the whole class I'm going to be paying attention to the teacher, but deep inside I'm going to be focusing on my balance. That already gives you that specific practice within the class that you're taking. But I also recommend to do outside of the class. But for those of you who may not have the time or the discipline to do that, you can do that when you're being instructed or when you go to a social. I often ask students to spare maybe 30 minutes or 1 hour of the social to focus on one thing. Maybe in the first hour of the social, you think about touch. I'm going to focus on how it feels every time I'm touching my partner. Is the pressure consistent, not consistent? Am I losing the grip? Does the change of grip feel natural? Or am I not even thinking about it? How can I make them more conscious or a little bit earlier? And you focus on that. You're still dancing, having fun. Maybe nobody knows you're practicing, but there is a little thing, just one small thing that you're paying attention to. Don't give yourself too many things. I'm going to focus on my balance. Oh, crap, we're doing head movements. Oh, okay, I need to focus on my head movement now because my teacher told me to not break my neck. And then we go into lateral and soltinho. Oh, crap, we're doing Wi-Fi now. I need to focus on looking at my partner. No. Let some of those things break so you can focus on one. Really, really, really do that. I do that intentionally in private lessons. I'll ask the student, hey, we're just going to focus on your balance now. And I'm just going to dance with you. And I'm going to do things that are going to possibly challenge or intentionally break your balance a little bit. And I want to know that you're focusing on it and that you're going to be conscious about it and understand what happened. 99% of the times, the issue is fixed like this, just because they gave that one thing enough attention. And maybe it's not fixed, but it's improved. So give yourself a real chance to get better. Not by focusing on everything, but giving very special moment for anything that you want to do.
Yeah. You said that it's not fixed, but it's improved. And even I think if it's not fixed or improved, you became aware of it. And that for me sometimes is a big win. Yesterday even, in a private lesson, we realized that the issue was timing. The person thought it was their balance, but what was throwing them off balance was timing. So what did we do? We worked on slowing down and stopping, slowing down and stopping. And every time we slow down and stop, they would do, oh, really? Oh my gosh, okay. And then the second time, oh, really? Up to the point that, and this often happens, they eat and then go back. They realize and then go back. They realize and then go back. So awareness is developing. Sometimes getting better at something or the movement to start to get better at something is to become aware of something new. So sometimes you are aware, you want to get better at balance. And then you find a teacher and the teacher says, your balance is good. What is throwing you off balance is your timing. You're moving too fast through the steps. And then, oh my God. So it is timing at the end of the day. and then we focus on the timing, we focus on weight distribution and all of that stuff, you might not be able to fix and be balanced in that hour, in that 2 hours, but you leave knowing that the thing you thought was a problem is actually fine. It's another thing that you felt that in your body. So look for that awareness. Yeah, sometimes the teacher can help. Sometimes your own observation can help. Sometimes the video can help a lot. Like we said before, I know it's hard to watch yourself dancing sometimes, but it can be really enlightening what you see. And help from your friends, asking them, what do you feel here? What do you notice here? Sometimes that can be incredibly enlightening as well. There are tools available, and putting your mind to it, like Alison saying, intentional training, it can have like a really powerful effect.
And I guess this is your gentle reminder that timing affects everything.
Everything.
Absolutely everything.
Everything. Can I say something real quick about it?
Yes.
Like real quick. Something that was really surprising. I think we talked about this in the episode. We mentioned the phenomenon of neural coupling. And in the thing that I read about it, it talks about connection between two human beings and two human beings who dance. And they say that the first element of connection is rhythm. If the bodies are not in the same rhythm, even if you have the eye to eye, the connection of the hands and everything is happening, you have that exchange, if we are off in the rhythm, the connection doesn't happen. So even as a core element of connection, the timing is there. This goddamn timing is there. So people, work on your timing. That was all. Very quick.
We are timing commanders, proudly so, because we've seen it all, and we know that timing is something that is not just on your feet. Timing of your feet, knees, hips, upper body, arms, head. Everything has timing. And now it's that timing of the episode that we want to thank you once again for being here. And like Gui said before, let's get better at following, subscribing, sharing the episode so we can help you grow, help the community grow, help the podcast grow. And we will promise to continue doing better here for you guys, because we do a lot of deliberate practicing as we're editing and discussing the topics. So thank you, everybody. Beijos, abraços, and ciao.
Ciao, people.